Good afternoon. Shalia Speaks. This is going to be a very interesting journey. I would like for you to come and go with me on this journey. We're going to be learning about the renewing of your mind. And of course, this is not going to be one time or two times. We're looking at a couple of series here. I'm hoping that I can complete everything within 6 series, and there will be a workbook that you can follow. There also will be blank pages where you will be able to fill in your journey and how you are being affected by this journey. Most importantly, we have to understand for the renewing of your mind is something that you will have to do for the rest of your life. It isn't a one time, two time, three or four time journey as we continue to live in this world and ask God bless us every day to be older and celebrate our birthdays. We will become much wiser with time, and we'll also be able to see how we need to transform and transfer our thinking from yesterday's thinking into today's thinking. That is part of the renewing of your mind. A lot of things that we did, that we thought, the way that we were taught and what we were exposed to, it developed who we are and the persons that we have become. These are the things, once again, I'm going to highlight just a little bit. These are the things that will help build your personality and also your character. If you were taking notes, you see that I gave a great explanation of character and your personality. And then we also talked about the three different entities that's connected with the soul, which is your heart, your mind, and then the soul. The soul is one of the most important parts of the whole being, is because the soul is where all of the information, all of the experiences, all of the traumatization that people have gone through, this is where it ends up. It ends up in the soul. And then the soul began to scream and cry out, somebody help me. I need to come from this dark place of depression. I need to come from this place of anxiety. I need to come from this place of regret. I need to come from this place of tiptoeing around the elephant in the room and quiet and feeling like I can't really discuss the things of the soul. And of course, I always recommend when individuals need guidance or additional help, of course, my number one reference is going to be biblical. My number one reference is going to be develop a personal relationship with you and God. My number one reference is get a better understanding of you can tell God everything, anything, how often you want to tell him, how loud you want to tell him, scream and holler and tell him. You can even tell him that you're mad. You can even tell him I don't like you. That's not anything that I recommend that you do. But the beautiful part about the soul is before you even said those things out loud, where anyone could hear them, more or less yourself, now it is no longer in the conscious or the subconscious mind, because now you spoke it out loud. God already knew that you were going to tell him that. God already knew that you were angry at him. God already knew. Maybe you didn't mean it. And I can only hope that he saw your heart and not just your words. Because that's one of the things that God does talk about in the Bible. I'm going to paraphrase it. God is looking at the heart and not the outer appearance. We as people, including myself, we have learned really good how to cover up the outside in hoping that it's not matching the inside. And sometimes because of monetary things, we think we can buy it away, we can shop it away, we can go sailing cruises away, whatever that will become repetitious. And you use that as a band aid in hopes that this will help ease the pain in your soul. Most of the time, when you come to yourself, you will find out now you are a emotional spender. And this is where you make decisions that's not great decisions. Because to take a journey inside yourself to your soul, I will say it again, there's absolutely no way in the world that you are going to go on such a journey when you're going to come inside yourself. There's no way that you can come inside yourself, inside your thoughts, and what you tell yourself that only your mind and your subconscious and conscious mind can hear. You dare not speak it out loud because it's already inappropriate. Those are the things that we deal with in our personality. Because when it comes to your character will allow you to refrain from saying things that is hurtful. It will refrain you from making decisions that is right and wrong, but you choose wrong because you don't want to face the consequences or be responsible for your actions. So then you'll say, well, I'm grown, and you are, and you get to do what you want to do, and you do, and you can be responsible for your own consequences. But when your consequences come, they may not be in the manner in which you want them to come back to you. But you got to remember the deed that you put out in the universe. That's the same deed that's going to come back and get you. Those are some of the characteristics. When you come to the realization, I need to find out who I am for real. We know who we are when we're born. We know who we are from 6 to 12. We know who we are maybe from 12 to 18. In other words, every 10 years, there is going to be a physical and mental change, not only outwardly, but inwardly. You will also see the realms and the different levels of understanding and wisdom of the world in which we live in. 10 years ago, things were a whole lot different than what they are in 2025. My belief system and the way I was raised, which was a long time ago, those characteristics and those concepts are not the same characteristics and concepts that we rely on today. I had to go back and learn a whole lot of new jargon, not because I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses or trying to keep up with the young people, but I want to have a better understanding of when you say you was ghosted. We just said plain and simple. They just didn't want to be bothered. And you say ghosted. So, and words make a big difference. We can understand what the word ghost means, but we need to understand what it means in 2025 with the new way of thinking. This is all with the renewing of your mind. And also in conjunction with the renewing of your mind, will determine the day that you sat down and had a conversation with your mind, your heart, and your soul, and you said, wait a minute, there is something else more to this than this. It's just more to it. So you begin to research, you begin to look at stuff from a biological point of view, from a scientific point of view. And of course, you're dissecting the Bible inside and out, because I am not hearing or seeing anyone break down what is it that you need to do to get through to the end of the renewing of your mind. So, from what I understand, there is no end. The end is when you quit breathing and you're not breathing anymore. That's the end. So, once you see that that is the end, that means that you've gone on with your Father, you're not here anymore, and you've left this world. So, there's not going to be an expiration date of the renewing of your mind. It's going to be consistent until you are no longer existing. So that means that every 10 years, as your body change, as your mind change, as the world change, as the universe change, as the concept change, as the government change, you will have to change your mind. You may be able to keep some of the authenticness of yourself, but in order for you to strive and thrive in the oncoming worlds, you have to ask for, this is just some of the things I had to do. You have to ask and pray and ask God, please give me the gift of discernment. Because without the gift of discernment, as the kids say, you're going to be ghosted on a whole bunch of times. You're going to be bamboozled. You're going to be scammed. And they're so clever in the way that they do things, because our minds, my mind, is still stuck on yesterday and how they used to do business. It's a whole different mindset of doing business today. That is in the renewing of your mind. But the best foundation and the strongest foundation, when you ask somebody, who am I? There isn't a better individual that I know of other than your parents. But the person before the parents that said biblically, he knew you when you was just a thought. Can you imagine that? He just thought you. You wasn't even formed, with no blood, no fingers, no toes, no nothing. So with that being said, I told myself, have a conversation with Jesus and ask him, come go with me inside me. Show me who I am without my character. Show me who I am with my personality. Now, I don't know if y'all want to be ready for that, but go ahead on and get you some water. Kick back and relax. Because you're talking about a journey. Look, this is the best soap opera that you're going to see in a long time, is yourself. You're going to be absolutely amazed at who you really are in your personality. You get a chance to see how God can turn the heat up in your life and tailor-made certain situations that is beyond traumatic to you. For some people, that may not be traumatic because that's the culture that they live in. They grew up with seeing all types of calamities and killings and discard. So that's what they were accustomed to. But if you're not accustomed to that, and then now you're thrusted in a world where you have to be in survival mode, it's a whole lot different when you're in survival mode with traumatization. And then you have to become the person that can help take care of yourself in those survival modes. The only references that you have is maybe something that you saw on TV or maybe something you heard. But you never believed in a million years that these types of opportunities would knock at your door and that would cause you to come from the personality that you liked about yourself. Excuse me, the character that you liked about yourself. And now you're thrusted into survival mode of a personality that says, I must defend myself in any deemed way necessary. And then that's when the difference starts to come in because of the trauma to the soul. If you're not praying for yourself while you're in that trauma, some people can come out of it and some people will go deeper into it. Trauma is one of the main things that leaves a perfect frenzy opportunity for your blood to become poison. You can look it up on Google. I tell people all the time, you don't have to believe me. Hatred is in the umbrella of having God to come go with you inside of you so you can see your personality. I understand why sometimes there is such a large vast of hatred in America and racial discrimination. A lot of times people want to choose everybody for what happened. But everybody in that culture, they did not do what caused you the trauma. I see why some black, whites, Spanish, Indian, Mexicans, human beings, if they have been traumatized by one particular race of people, a lot of times they want to throw all of the people from that race in their equation of their trauma. That is not fair to the innocent person. That is not fair to the individual that don't have that kind of behavior or thought process. But you're going to take your hatred and your pain that's from your soul, that's now poisoning your blood system because you are so hateful that you're disgusted with everybody. And you're still going to miss a great blessing when you have that type of attitude. I am speaking from experience. The trauma that was caused to my son thrusted me into an area of hatred I knew nothing about, not on that level. And I stayed in that place for about 4 years. And because of that, it caused me a tremendous physical change. I could see the change and feel the change. But I was so engulfed in vengeance. And you know, and I know that God says that vengeance is His. That is down that journey of walking in your mind and in your soul with Jesus Christ to help you with the renewing of your mind. That's part of the renewing of your mind. You can't have bitterness in the renewing of your mind. You can't have hatred in the renewing of your mind. You can't have, I'm holding on to this from the last 20 years or something that you did to me, and I'm still holding on to it. You cannot have jealousy and envy and strife. You cannot have gathering of other individuals to agree with you on your low vibrational way of thinking. And you have influenced these people to take your side of all of your negativity because of the poison that you have in your system, the poison that you have in your mind, the poison that you have in your heart and in your mind, your heart, and now your soul. And this is why your soul is screaming, God, how do I really get over all of these things? You got to start from 6 years old all the way up until the point that you come to in your life, whatever age that is. Hypothetically, let's pretend at 50, you decide, I want to change, but I really don't know what to change. I want to feel better, but I really don't know how to feel better. I'm praying, I'm going to church, I'm believing in God, I have faith, but there's still more. I'm eliminating the things that I shouldn't do. I have a temper. I might even cuss you out. So how in the world are you going to use me, a person at the drop of a hat, from the traumatization that caused me to constantly be in survival mode, that caused me to physically be ready at any moment to physically bring harm, as they say, to you, because now I'm dealing with the personality of survival. I'm no longer in the personality of my characteristics. If my characteristics was built on a more solid ground, then I would be more equipped in how to deal with these type of adversaries when they come up. So what else did I have to do in the renewing of my mind? I had to take a sidebar and step to the side and pay attention to the real evil people in the world. Let me see how you operate in here. Let me see how you thinking. Let me see how you gather all your troops together to come against a person that is working towards the renewing of their mind. Let me see how I need to build my inner characteristics and have the faith of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Or either have the faith of Enoch, was the only human being that I know of that talked and walked his way right on into heaven and never tasted death, not one time. I want to know how to have the real kind of faith. When Jesus told him, don't worry, I'm paraphrasing it. I got this. I know Lazarus is dead. I don't know why y'all cutting up so bad, but I got it. But Martha and them, they didn't want to hear nothing you had to say. But the faith that God already knew that he had in himself, he already knew what he could do. And that's why he asked them, paraphrasing it again, you mean to tell me you done been around me all this time and you've seen me do wonders and all kind of things, but you still are worried about Lazarus? Like I'm not going to be able to do nothing. He said, go and get him out the grave. Set him over here. He specifically called Lazarus by his name. You got to be specific when you're talking about a soul journey with Christ and you want him to come go with you, in you. You better be real serious. Because when he gets to showing you who you are, a lot of times you're not going to like who you see. You're not going to like who you are. And those are the times that's when you need to do a hiatus, because you're going into yourself. You don't need any interruptions of the renewing of your mind. So we're going to stop right here, and we're going to come back with you on the next part of the renewing of your mind. I hope that I have gathered your interest, piqued the interest at least. So come on, go with me of the renewing of your mind and ask God to come go with us inside our soul. Shalia Speaks. We'll talk to you soon.